Hello and thanks for joining us here at France 24. I'm Annelise Borges. Coming up, a special edition of Tech24. We take you on a guided tour of digital Africa. From Togo's WeLab, where the first green 3D printer is being developed, to the rapid rise of an e-commerce giant in Nigeria. We'll check out the initiatives and startups that are working to transform the continent. We start our Tech Made in Africa edition in Togo. From the capital, Lomé, we're joined by Sename Kofi Abudinu. Hello, Sename. Thank you so much for joining us today. You, in Togo, where only 5% of the 6 million inhabitants have access to the internet, you created WeLab, a community workspace or makerspace that serves to empower people. How exactly does the center work?
WeLab is an innovative place. It's a space of democratic technology. It just celebrated its first year. Our community is very young. The average age is 20. We offer this free space in the city. Anybody is welcome to develop projects that deal with new technology. We have a list of requirements that we call OI Tech. We aim to develop projects that anybody could afford.
Now, you're also responsible for the first sustainable 3D printer project in Africa, a printer assembled from recycled components. What motivated you to develop this idea?
Yes, our first conceived in Africa 3D printer project actually was elaborated at WeLab. We named it the WAFA project. It's a play on words with its inventor's name, Afet Niku. He's been with us since the beginning of the WeLab adventure. The WAFAT project's goal is to create a 3D printer by recycling electronic products, so that everybody can afford this 3D printing technology, as we do not necessarily have access to imported plastic kits that would help build a printer.
And now you plan to send the 3D printer to space, to Mars. What exactly is the message behind this ambitious idea?
Yes, it's an original concept we developed for NASA. We accidentally ended up participating in the last Space App Challenge, which is a big event organized by NASA each year. Our work was in the last 30 projects. 700 projects were presented. WAFA de Mars aims to help reflect on a new way to explore space, thanks to electronic waste, which means recycling our electronic trash and sending it to Mars. We actually have a lot of electronic trash in Africa. We invented 2 spacecrafts made of electronic waste. These spacecrafts would go explore other planets, and WAFAT would be a symbol for it.
Thank you so much, Sename Kofi, for joining us today. And we now leave Togo, cross Benin, and land in Nigeria, where the online shopping website Jumia has taken the country by storm. The company has become a hit among Nigerian shoppers and is now responsible for creating 2 new jobs every day.
Just a little over a year ago, Jumia resembled any other online startup. But what began with just 10 employees has ballooned into a 450-man operation and given rise to the 4th most popular website in Nigeria, taking the online shopping market by storm.
I doubt there are many markets in the world with 160 million people, growing middle class, and nothing in terms of organized retail. And so for us, that's the vision that Jumia has, to help build organized retail here in the largest country in Africa.
Jumia's strength is that it delivers straight to the customer's door, even in the north of the country and in other remote areas. To get around the nationwide problem of online scamming, Jumia allows customers to, if they choose, pay for their items once it's been delivered.
I can look at it and pay straight here, because sometimes, you know, it's not always reliable to use cards. You're not sure whether to use your card and your details online to share your information, but it's always easier when you can see the person, you can see your item, and you can pay for it straight away.
Keen to win trust, Jumia also employs a team of around 100 salesmen and women to show prospective customers how the service works. It's this human touch that is key to building Jumia's reputation and helping win over Nigerians to online shopping.
Nigeria is more of an offline market, but bringing in online market into Nigeria. We believe that we still need to introduce online shopping to Nigerians, and the only way to do it is having people meet them in person.
Jumia already exists in Kenya, Egypt and Morocco and hopes to repeat its recent success in Nigeria in West Africa.
And we continue this journey through Africa with Mark Edwards, who's here to tell us about a couple of other initiatives that are transforming the continent. Mark, the first project that you're going to tell us about comes from Ghana, where some special software is helping farmers work out the final price of their harvest.
Annalise, it might sound like a very obvious thing that, you know, a farmer should know how much their stock is worth. But there's a very sort of interesting dynamic between farmers and traders. And these farmers are almost a lot of the time quite blindly accepting what a trader says that is the price of a commodity is in a faraway place. No longer, thanks to Isoko, which is a very simple system of technology with SMSs, where a farmer can simply ask, let's say a farmer wants to know the price of white maize in another part of, of Ghana or any other country across the continent. Bang, straight away. And, you know, it empowers these farmers to not just blindly accept what these traders are saying. Hopefully what it does, it will then tighten up the supply chain, increase the revenues and decrease the waste, all thanks to Isoko, which is running and managing this software platform.
Now, it's common to many of these African nations, it's a very young population. So we're seeing a lot of projects around education. For example, in Uganda, where only 5% of public spending goes to education, the startup BrainShare is transforming, is creating virtual classrooms for students.
A fantastic application because, you know, as you mentioned, there's not a huge amount of investment into education. A large proportion of the young people in Uganda don't have access to higher education or even education at all. And what this online application or this social platform is enabling them to do is A, meet like-minded students on this social platform, but have access to virtual classrooms where they've got, you know, e-books, past papers, notes, so on and so forth. You know, absolutely fantastic for Uganda and social movement, social progression there. But it's not the only thing that's going on in Africa. You know, we've also got in Cameroon a sort of network called Pulse, where they're bringing together all of the universities. And, you know, we take for granted... how long ago did you leave university, Annalise?
About 5 or 6 years ago.
That was a bit cheeky of me. Mine was a decade ago, and I kind of take for granted these online notice boards where you don't need to physically go into the notice board. You get access to the past papers, access to everything. And, you know, these guys are now have it, and all these universities are together, and it's a great thing for social progression and social movement and the education of the young in Africa. Fantastic.
Thanks for that, Mark, and thank you for watching this edition of Tech24. Don't forget, you can get in touch via Facebook or on Twitter. And we leave you today with images of the world's first tablet cafe in Dakar, Senegal. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.